does the statement delayed till November the 17th a clear sign that Rishi Sunak, a former Chancellor, one of his titles as Prime Minister, of course, is First Lord of the Treasury, is flexing his muscles? He's going to go through Jeremy Hunt's prepared statement, line by line, and maybe there's going to be changes.
Yeah, absolutely, I think so. I mean, Jeremy Hunt, bearing in mind, was brought in only last week, so has not had much time to do this. The Treasury, of course, the orthodoxy, the civil service, has been making its own plans regardless of the Chancellor. But given this Prime Minister comes from the Treasury, and this is where he cut his teeth, he's going to want to go through it line by line, and he's going to be talking about tax rises, I think, much more than Jeremy Hunt was probably thinking about.
Where are the tax rises going to come, in your view?
Well, we know that this Chancellor, he said... Prime Minister now, he says he's a fiscal conservative. He says he believes in low taxes. But when it came to the windfall tax, when it came to the national insurance hike, he was happy to do those things. So I think he will be trying to look for the ones that are more progressive, by which I mean hurt people, not the most vulnerable people, but are more targeted towards whether it's energy giants or whether it's
banks?
People, working people.
Maybe banks? There's talk of banks.
Maybe banks. We don't know. Given that he's got 2.5 weeks to go before this, I think we'll hear much more about it.
He can't tax people anymore because we're already facing the biggest tax burden for 70 years.
We're also facing the biggest debt burden, though. I think that's the problem, isn't it? I mean, the COVID pandemic, everything that we've been through in the last few years has just made everything so much worse in terms of tax and spend.
It's a point that Andrew's made earlier, but some of the points he's making, pensions, fracking, to what extent is Rishi Sunak trying to protect the core of the Conservative voters rather than the public at large?
I know, and this is one of the problems. I mean, you see the think tank behind him, Policy Exchange, the centre-right think tank, advising him to drop the triple lock, advising him to go for all these things that, on paper, from think tank world, might sound good and fair and progressive. But as you say, Rosie, you know, the Conservative voters are not going to like that. I think at the moment, yesterday and today, we've seen a bit of a honeymoon period for Rishi Sunak. You see the way he's been cheered on by his backbench MPs at Prime Minister's questions. Let's see how long that lasts when these flashpoints come up.
So what are your predictions for how long he's got?
Well, that all depends on party management. I think the party at the moment has been catalysed into this moment of unity because they've been terrified by the polls, right? I mean, this is historically bad polls for the Conservative Party, so that unites them. They've also brought in, crowned this Prime Minister in order to solve their problems. So if they start bickering now, then they've kind of undone all of their work over the last week. But you do start seeing cracks already. I mean, Jake Berry today has already launched a broadside at Suella Braverman for her reappointment.
He was sacked, of course, from the cabinet.
He was sacked.
He sacked as Tory chairman. Nothing like a bit of revenge.
Yes, exactly. So, of course, maybe the Trust campaign, but then there's a lot of Boris Johnson supporters and Penny Mordaunt supporters who are not going to be happy that she hasn't been promoted at all. So I really don't know. I mean, let's just see. Rishi Sunak, you know, I think he is a relatively sensible guy when it comes to fiscal policies and that kind of thing. Let's see how good his party management is as well.